Elon Musk is visiting Israel today. He toured a kibbutz attacked last month by Hamas militants. The tech billionaire has come under fire for endorsing an anti-Semitic post on his platform X. And video shows Musk taking a photo or video of the devastation while being escorted by security officials around the kibbutz. Officials say Musk is also due to meet with Israeli President Isaac Herzog. The trip comes amid reports that X may lose up to $75 million in revenue. That's according to internal documents. Advertisers like Coca-Cola and Microsoft have been pulling advertisements following a rise in anti-Semitism on the platform. So Ryan Mack is joining us now to talk a little bit more about this. He's a technology reporter with the New York Times. Great to see you. Before we get to the ad revenue declining, can you give us a little more context when it comes to Musk's trip to Israel?
Sure. He has a previous relationship with Netanyahu. He did an event with him at the Tesla factory in September. And so he has a bit of damage control to do right now with his own kind of public image. He is, often inserting himself into major public conflicts or incidents. And he made this trip out kind of on short notice to tour, obviously, some of the devastation and some of the problem sites in the country.
Yeah, Ryan, it seems interesting. I mean, he's doing this, and kudos to him for that visit. But it doesn't strike me that if I just look at the reaction on X, that people are taking this as a way to dismiss the allegations that have been made against him previous to this visit, right? Which is that which is not only that there are certain ads that show up next to anti-Semitic tweets, whatever they're called now. What are they called now? They're not called
posts.
Posts.
Yes, we'll posts. I think they're called X's, but
okay,
nobody says
it. And the things that he himself has retweeted. I mean, I haven't seen. Maybe I missed it. Have we seen an apology, a tweet or a post from Musk saying, "Look, I may have been wrong about the things that I reposted or the things that I amplified on my platform"? It's great to do this visit. Bibi Netanyahu does not speak for all Jewish people all over the world. So I'm just wondering what kind of an impact this is having on those reports of what I just listed there.
Yeah, to your question about an apology, I mean, no, he hasn't said I'm sorry or anything like that. I mean, the closest thing so far he said is he's tweeted, that he's not anti-Semitic, that something like that couldn't be further from the truth. But to be frank, I mean, he has been dogged by these questions for months, long before the most recent kind of posts that got him into this hot water. He's done these tweets about George Soros in the past. He's engaged with far-right members on Twitter. These are questions that have hampered him since his ownership of the company, since he took over for $44 billion last year. And they continue to hamper him. And so he'll be continued to followed by these questions for months.
Yeah, it's really confounding that he continues to do this sort of thing because almost immediately after he took over Twitter and changed it to X, ad sales started to soften. Right? Because he was talking about opening it up, lifting free speech and all this sort of stuff. And there was a real concern about what was going to end up on this platform. And here we are now, and there's a lot of despicable stuff on the platform, and internal documents from the company indicate that they're really concerned that they could be losing way more money than they even initially thought. What do those internal documents show?
So I think the interesting context here is that ad revenue was already down. I mean, over the summer, we reported that, sales revenue, ad revenue was down over 90% in the U.S. Already. Or down 60% in the U.S. already. Now, after these comments, after this one post that he made, engaging a white nationalist conspiracy theory, advertisers are pulling back in the most important holiday period for any company that does advertising. So, you have companies like Coca-Cola, Apple, Disney, major brands that are all deciding to pause their advertising on X. Advertising is an important part of the, X revenue. It's 90% of the company's revenue. And so that is a major, major hit to the company.
And so, as you write, the advertising freeze comes during the final 3 months of the year. Are you seeing at all the companies who have stopped advertising on X Is there a willingness for them to return, or are they as good as gone because nothing has really changed on the
Well,
platform?
some have. It's sort of some have fluctuated, right? And some have returned and then gone back, or some of this concern has to do with companies who are still advertising, but they're considering not advertising.
Right.
Maybe you could sort of give us the lay of the land.
Yeah, I think with advertising, advertisers they don't ever want to be the first to decide, but let's take a look at something like Apple, for example. When Elon took over last year, he got in a kerfuffle with Tim Cook and Apple over App Store fees, and there was a debate over whether Apple would, pull its spending. Eventually, they made up. Apple continued to spend on X and is one of their largest advertisers. But now you have these comments that he made, and they were one of the first to pause. And so, I think advertisers have a love-hate relationship with X. They want an alternative to places like Google and Facebook and Meta, but also they're very hesitant to associate themselves with Elon Musk, especially at this point. And so, I've yet to seen an advertiser come back after these most recent comments, and I think a lot of them are now very wary, particularly with Elon Musk's continued association with anti-Semitic comments.
And Ryan, what happened with remember that big splashy announcement that Twitter's got a new CEO? She had a background in advertising, so there was going to be like a transformative master plan, and
she got hugely ratioed when, in the wake of these charges of anti-Semitism, she came out with some statement about how X stands against anti-Semitism, and it was Ryan, you can tell it better than yeah, totally ripped.
Yeah, we're talking about Linda Yaccarino here, who was named chief executive of the company. Still reports to Elon Musk, who's still the boss. But yeah, she has been she's had her hands tied. She has to respond to what her boss does. And, her boss tends to mouth off on Twitter, on X, on a daily basis. And I think it's a lot of, damage control at this point. She came from an advertising background, and she has these relationships with advertisers. But even so, that hasn't been enough to overcome, just the blatant anti-Semitism and racism and, horrible stuff that has been said by, Elon Musk.
Ryan Mack, always great to have you on the air to talk about your reporting. Appreciate it.
Thank you.